Good morning. Acknowledgements, of course, to our Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Cabinet colleagues, other ministers of state, all of the distinguished guests, representatives of the opposition leader. Let me particularly highlight President, who is here, the President of the International Red Cross, who has changed her flight to be with us here in Jamaica, and I'm very grateful for you being here, President Kate Forbes. We have many, many distinguished guests, so I won't go into the long list. Just to say that today is a very good morning. This is hope in action. I want to tell you, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security has been at it since Hurricane Beryl. We have been out. When everything tapered down for everyone else, it went up for us. And we came together and said, we can't wait until 2025. We'll get an opportunity to ease down. And then Hurricane Melissa came. And I want to especially say to those members of the ministry and our partners, particularly the stakeholders in the Humanitarian Assistance Committee, who perhaps you won't know their names, no big positions, but they're the ones on the ground. They're the ones who have been impacted. They lost their roofs, they lost their homes, and the next day they were at work serving the people. Amazing, amazing humans who are fully committed to national service. Volunteers who took the time, closed down their business, went into Westmoreland, went into St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, brought all of the goods that they could. Persons from the diaspora, persons who are not Jamaican by birth, but know more about Jamaica than many of us. And when the ministry and our social workers went into what we call the nook and cranny, they were there before us. It's an amazing testament to the resilience of this country and to the first responders. I want to just particularly say thank you to the gentleman I call the chief first responder, our Prime Minister, who it's a new title. And why I say so, when this hurricane was coming, the Prime Minister called us, started the meetings, the ministry started the preparation, started to pre-position so that we were ready. But we could never have anticipated what actually hit Jamaica. The PSOJ, other members of the private sector, with the leadership of Senator Duncan and others who came together to give us support. At first it was serious challenging. That room was a very strong courtroom. But I think, in all of that, it really shows that there was a serious passion for this country that is now culminating in today's launch of the Shelter Recovery Program. A program that will represent our transition from relief to recovery. I can't see the next slide, please. Let me give you quickly an overview. There's a lot to be said, so permit me to be as efficient as possible. So to date, we have completed more than 70,000 household assessments. Do I need to move? Am I blocking you? I think so. Huh? You'll assume. Okay, all right. Good. More than 70,000 household assessments completed, which affect more than 200,000 persons. And of course, these assessments are conducted with the support of not just the Ministry of Labor and Social Security staff, but the several volunteers sent to us by the Honourable, is it Honourable Lovely or Lovely Honourable Babsy Grange? Not sure how it works. And other stakeholders. And that group, I must tell you, is an amazing group of persons, including our liaison officers who have, on their own volition, chosen to come back to Jamaica from Canada, from the US, and have given stellar service. Our staff members who were affected, who continued to work with CTD, Audrey Dear Williams, who led that group in just making sure that we had persons trained and out there on the buses. Again, wasn't always perfect, but look on where we are now. Put in comparison that we have done 70,000 up, and in burial, in 8 months, we did under 20,000. That's just to show you the efficiency and the improvements. Now, moving on. So when they go out, Minister Hamilton, they go out and they do an assessment in 5 categories. Now it says 4, it's really 5. When they go to the house, they say, all right, some houses, no damage. And yes, there are persons who demand that we assess them, because that assessment of no damage doesn't mean they don't get support. Some of them still, through Ms. Suzette Morris, the Director of Social Security, get food packages. And they have some who have no significant damage, others minor, major, severe. Now we focus down on the minor, major, and severe in terms of those who will receive benefit. And so far, in looking on that 3-tiered categorization, the percentages are 42% minor, 40% major, such as you losing your roof, and 18% severe, means you really have lost most, if not everything. So let's talk about how the assessments are done. Now we have a rigorous field enumeration methodology, which is the utilization of our staff and volunteers who conduct the on-site home inspections. And of course, I don't need to get into the full listing. This includes all of the Humanitarian Assistance Committee members, Food for the Poor, Salvation Army, Red Cross, on and on, persons across government. Anybody else? ADRA. They're going to read me out of church. ADRA, and others. All right? And I must tell you that the World Food Program assisted us last year in really upgrading the system that was utilized, primarily a paper-based system, which is now a digital, functional, operational system called the JH DINA, Jamaica Household Damage Impact Needs Assessment Tool, which allows for us to have real-time updating with pictures, Minister Dalrymple, Philbert, and GPS location. So we're going abroad. So what exactly is the Shelter Recovery Program? You'd have heard, so I won't spend too much time on it. It is a multifaceted, coordinated national response covering reconstruction, rehabilitation, and relocation. So you'll see it as I develop the framework that the Shelter Recovery Program is the umbrella. And it includes all of what we are doing, which will be the cash grants, the repairs that have been done, the support from the partners, everything. Once it's connected to our beneficiary list, Senator Duncan, it's a part of the program, which means when we do our assessments, it leads to us identifying that list, categorizing the persons, and that is verified. Once it is verified, that's the foundation on which someone can come to us and say, can you identify 200 persons in Black River? And they should fit this categorization. So we can pull them from our beneficiary list, and you become a partner in us addressing that issue. Next. Next. Okay. So who qualifies to be eligible? And we get this question a lot. Who qualifies for the Shelter Recovery Program? Dr. Anderson Thomas will tell you that she had a group of persons confront her to say, how do we apply? Can we apply online? Can we call you? What do we do? Now, you don't need to do that. Once you're on the beneficiary list, meaning once you have been impacted by the hurricane, Minister Main, you have many impacted by the hurricane and you have done the assessment and you have been verified, you are automatically qualified. Now, if we go to your street and we don't see you, we cannot complete the assessment. So we have a self-reporting tool that you can also access, not for you to be qualified, but for you to then be assessed, then verified, then you would qualify. Thank you very much. And as we do with everything, Senator Floyd Morris, in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, we make sure that in everything we do, we prioritize the vulnerable. So even in our assessments, we have prioritized the severity, meaning we started with the most severe and attempted to do as many of those. So you'll see the percentages in terms of those that are severe will not go up much in the next month because most of those have been completed. And we also target vulnerabilities. So whether it is major, severe, or minor, once you're a senior citizen, person with disability, or any of those issues, you are targeted and prioritized. Let's move on quickly. The SRP framework. Now, we have a very nice diagram here. I'm sure you're not able to see it, so I'm going to describe it for you. What it describes is the various pathways, the components, 6 key components to the shelter recovery program. Let's start with the big one, which is called roofs. Want to know roofs? Yes? And the restoration, Prime Minister, restoration of owner, occupant, family, shelter. Yes, it's a tricky one, but don't worry. You'll get used to it. So roofs, we have to have some, some oomph. Roofs. Roofs is the major component of the SRP that will allow for us now to satisfy the passage of benefit, to that person who is either in the minor, major, or severe category. So if you don't have any damage, you're not going to be a part of roofs. If no significant damage, you're not a part of roofs. But minor, major, severe, you're a part of roofs. Now, you get the tiered 75, 200, and $500,000 in terms of grant applied in that tier. Now, just to break it down further, it's an initial allocation of $10 billion. And as we said before, remember, we prioritize severity and we target vulnerabilities. So of that $10 billion, in approximation, $5 billion will be applied to the most severe. Yes, class, you're working with me. $4 billion will be applied to the second categorization of major. And that's what we're going after first, major and severe. However, we do acknowledge that even in the minor category, you have persons who fit certain vulnerabilities. And so therefore, of that billion, that will be applied to persons who even have minor damage, but who overlap with certain vulnerabilities. Everybody with me? Thank you very much. Good. All right. Now, moving quickly ahead. So that's one stream of the SRP. The next one is a government-led repair, which is led by the Jamaica Defense Force, and I want to I'll have to talk for an hour about the efficiency and the strength of the partnership with the JDF. Thank you, Prime Minister. So the government-led repair is the next stream, and the PM will dive into the details of it. Anything that's related to any one of the programs, such as a compound led by the JDF, falls under that. Partner-led repair is that repair led by the members of the Humanitarian Assistance Committee, like Food for the Poor. I see Ackley here, who's putting on many roofs. Other members like GEM and IOM, who will be working with us, and we won't go into that program that will be announced soon by the Prime Minister sometime within the next month. But that's partner-led. That's the partner-led part of the SRP. The next one is NHT support, which very quickly is through grants, loans, insurances. The rapidly deployed modular solutions, which will be those full or almost complete solutions provided through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development Social Housing Program. And lastly, there is the intention for us, we will be extending the normal relocation and regularization programs of the government to make sure that persons who are in vulnerable spaces are moved to more sustainable spaces. Moving quickly. So how does it work? I think by now you should know how it works. So you have a damage assessment, it is verified, approved. We determine which one of the 6 categories you fit into, and then the support is delivered. And I will, at a later stage, very quickly tell you the principles which will show that if you're in one category, you won't be in another. All right. Please remember that. All right. So let me answer the question of when does the SRP start. So you will hear from our keynote speaker the details, but let me just say it started already. All right? But the roofs section, which I know many persons are interested in, that initial $10 billion allocation, our effort is to continue the work with the geospatial team and my team to get everything together to get that moving by the end of January. For lawyers who are here, note I did not put any year. I'll leave that alone. Prime Minister is not smiling with that one. No, I did get a smile a while ago. All right, so I'm not going to go. I went into the components. I don't need to go through all of that again. Roofs program, can move that on. Restoration of owner, and it's owner or occupant. Just to be clear, you know, you have a lot of places in Minister Crystal Lee's constituency where persons are renting out their space. So the tenant will often want to come to us to say that they want the $500,000. Tenants, you are tenants, not owners. And so in that regard, you'll be facilitated with a rehabilitation grant to assist you. So it's owner or occupant of family shelter, which means not commercial enterprise. I don't need to go into the further details. You know what I mean. Next slide, please. I think we explained the government-led repair, and just to give more detail, what we do with JDF so far, the Prime Minister, when he went on that big meeting, is it G20? G20. He came back with a lot of support for the country, and I want to thank him. We had multiple countries coming back to say that they would assist Jamaica, Rwanda, Guyana, Ghana, Ethiopia to come. Others have given support in other ways, and it has been exemplary, and that's led by the JDF, so that's part of the government-led repair. Partnership-led, we did that already. National Housing Trust, PM will go into that. Deployment of modular solutions, did that already. See how fast I'm moving. Relocation, regularization, or just to note that for the relocation, Minister Marks, and the regularization, the conversation around relocation didn't start with Hurricane Melissa, and it won't stop with Hurricane Melissa. And so the intention here, of course, is to focus on those homes impacted by Melissa. However, the program will bring to attention all spaces that are vulnerable and exposed in our country. So that's a big part of that. Next, strategic partners. So, of course, we could not do this alone. We would not want to do it alone, and we have not had to do it alone. And we're blessed to have very strong strategic partners. And I want to highlight, of course, ADPEM, Commander Gale, and the team have been the crucial partner, the Ministry of Local Government, and others in terms of the support, the JDF, all of the parish municipal corporations who have been working hand in hand with us across all ministries. I don't want to start calling all the names, but just to say that these strategic partnerships have truly allowed for us to deploy in such a way that we are as efficient and effective as we have ever been. We have a record of the level of work being done on the ground, which is, in comparison to what's done globally, as the World Bank has said, world leading. So we want to give thanks to all of the partners. We want to give thanks to the church leaders. Yes, you can clap. And just to indicate that there continues to be a role for all of our partners and a role for all of the members of Parliament, Minister Montague, and councillors and community leaders. And I want to encourage all of you who are listening to make sure that if you go through your community, if there is anyone who is yet to be assessed, that you pass that information to us. And if there is anyone who requires any additional support, meaning they form part of that group that has vulnerabilities, please pass that information to us, despite whatever categorization they are in. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security continues to be the lead agency in terms of coordination. ADPEM, of course, is with JDF and others driving other aspects. We can move on to the next slide. In terms of the delivery, which I know everyone is interested in, let me say that we will be utilizing further to instruction a suite of payment modalities to advance the delivery and disbursements from the ROOFs program. That will allow for us to accommodate the many different circumstances that persons are now existing in. Some persons are without electricity, some are with electricity, some are not in their home, some don't have access to bank, etc. And so we, for the $75,000 part, which is the rehabilitation grant, that portion, which goes to the minor and to $75,000 out of the major and the severe, the beneficiary will have the opportunity to utilize it in any way. And the Prime Minister can go into further detail. But for the larger portions, it is our intention to make sure that how we deliver it is in such a way that establishes and assures the country of not just efficiency, but accountability. And so we will be utilizing primarily for that larger portion the digital formats and vouchers that allow for us to know when it's used, how it is used, and to be able to ring fence and have some management, better management over where it is used. And that's what the country, and that's what the Prime Minister has instructed us in terms of ensuring accountability with the money that has been allocated to us. Next slide, please, as I close. All right, so this is a very pretty slide, which I'm sure I'm seeing Dr. Campbell squinting his eyes, so he can't see. So maybe others can't see. But I'm going to read it to you. So with the SRP, what we have done is to develop some principles and protocols that will guide how we execute, and to make sure, MP Miller, that in everything we do, that it's clear and that it's accountable. So, number one benefit per household. And this is from the lessons learned in Burial, where we had some persons who might have been partners for life and utilize the functionality of their different last names in a very good way. And we've learned a lot of lessons in terms of our social workers going out and doing certain investigations, so we don't end up having Frank Witter Well, let me not, let me not use you, Frank. But yes, you understand what I mean. So one benefit per household. We, again, as I said, we target, principle two, the most vulnerable. Afternoon. We prioritize severe damage. And so, again, instruction from the Prime Minister and Cabinet, in everything that we have done, we've made sure to prioritize the persons who have been most severely impacted. We have digital verification receipts, again, to improve on accountability. Improved service delivery to the vulnerable. We have not only provided contact numbers, but when we go into communities, we not only have the self-reporting tool, but we now have, what do you call it, PS? A call-in card that we leave just to make sure, again, lessons learned from Beryl, that if we don't see you and you don't see us, you feel our presence. You know that we were there, and you know that you can contact us. Because not everybody has access to the internet to go onto the self-reporting tool. Yes, we've thought of it. Next, elimination of duplication, which means, we have put in place the overlaying structure to make sure that we can identify through the TRN and other means to ensure that persons get only into one stream. Accountability, their strategic partnerships, equity and transparency in allocation, and as you've heard from the Prime Minister, we're not building back, we're building forward stronger. I've already, the slide before this, I've gone through, I just want to reiterate, in terms of accessing support. Number one, you must be assessed and verified, Ms. Taylor Lynn, by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security or our partners. Number two, you can utilize the self-reporting tool if you have not been assessed yet to report your damage, or you can call us on our phone numbers. And you can also check your application status by calling us. But there is always the option of going to one of our parish offices, which you call Path Office or NIS Office. And at the office, we will either allow you to access the online tool or just assist you as we see you. And I want to, before I close, say this loudly. There is no fee associated with the process of application for the Shelter Recovery Program. Now, why would the minister be highlighting this? It makes no sense, but let me tell you. Artificial intelligence is being utilized by all, not just those that have good intentions. And so already we have had to cauterize and eliminate from the public domain persons who have sought to give the impression that they are associated with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security or the government of Jamaica, and asking people for information to be a part of these programs. I want to reiterate, there is no fee, and that you should utilize the authentic channels. Government ministries, GIS, Ministry of Labour, the Prime Minister's social media, those are the authentic channels of information. Please, very, very important, because we have found that they target the same persons we are targeting, the vulnerable. And so it is easy. So our social workers are alert, and they're placed on alert to make sure that they can identify the persons trying to destroy our prosperity. Slide. Okay. All right, this is actually